woman question. The woman question is basically a question of political philosophy that asks how do women fit into political society? And by political society, I mean it in the most broad sense possible, not sort of like the narrow public sphere of voting in, standing for elections, and writing in the comments section of The Guardian. I mean society as a whole. And this is an ancient question that often has to do with how do we classify women? Are they the same as children? Are they idiots? Are they like the illiterate or the irreparably insane? And then at some point in history, we figured out, and when I say we, I mean men, figured out that actually women aren't like children or the mentally ill. They're just kind of their own thing, just women. And this notion that women sort of deserve equal rights and social standing with men is kind of, in the grand scheme of human history, this happened about 20 minutes ago. So, you know, some people are still getting used to the idea. We will give it time, you know, they'll work on it. But during the Enlightenment and the French Revolution, this idea was kind of put under pressure because people are talking about universal rights and shit. And it's, you can see how this question would come under pressure. People are like, oh, les femmes aussi, rights of men for women too? You think this is a good idea? Put down the mouth. They're kind of like, you know, they're working on it. This is the conversation that's going on at that level of discourse, obviously. During the Enlightenment and the French Revolution, and also in the 19th century, it took a while to figure it out. But we're going to look at one Enlightenment philosopher in particular, and Denis Diderot, who in his essay on women wrote that when one writes of woman, one must dip his pen into the rainbow and sprinkle over the lines the dust of butterfly wings. Wait, what? What the fuck's going on here? So anybody who thought like, oh, that's like kind of sweet, that's not that bad, that's the wrong reaction. Like, this is really weird, y'all, and we really need to talk about it. So as any good intellectual historian, we're gonna just do a quick textual analysis, close reading, and just a close reading. And what we learn here, thorough reading gives us an understanding that Diderot thinks that women are so fucking other from men that in order to even write about them, you have to go on some sort of majestical quest where you like, you know, you find this damn rainbow and then you like distill its essence into some sort of ink substitute. You probably also have to like dance with a unicorn, trade magic beans with like a friendly bear, and like sing an aria with your fairy godmother. And then finally dip your pen into the rainbow and then the shit with the butterfly wings. And, you know, this is just weird. And I'd like to think, like, imagine if, like, a guy texted you this on, like, Hinge or Tinder or, you know, some other app ruining mankind. And he texts you this, and you're, like, trying to figure it out. And you're thinking this, and you're like, oh, interesting, wait. Do you harvest the butterfly wings? Is that like a hobby? You harvest? You don't know what the hell's going on. At least if a guy texts you on Tinder, hey girl, what are you doing tonight? Like, you know what that's about. Like, you know what to do with it. You know what that's about. This, you have no idea what to do with this. You're like, should I call someone? Like, does this guy need help? Was he raised on Powerpuff Girls? And this is what he thinks women are? You know, and then like the dark part of you is like, could I possibly prevent a serial killer from going on a murder spree? Because this dust of butterfly things, this dust thing, that's some fucked up science of blood shit. Like, what do you do with that? So I thought to get a bit of perspective, we would compare this with a modern day philosopher of sorts, whose last name also begins with D and is sort of French, Derulo, Jason Derulo. So Jason asks, is it weird that your bra reminds me of a Katy Perry song? Is it? Yes, Jason. It's weird. It's super fucking weird. But what I like about this is he asks, you know, he's a 21st century courteous gentleman. He's checking in with you. He's like, isn't weird? So, like, you know, hashtag social progress, guys. And then there was another weird thing that Diderot said. He said to his lover, Sophie, he's like, Okay, wait, what am I saying? Okay, yeah, Sophie. Sophie was this woman of great intelligence, and because of her great intelligence, he said to her, "You are scarcely a woman." It's like, oh, thanks, babe. Wait, what? Like, so I like to imagine like a modern day Diderot in this bar tonight. I don't think he'd play super well. He comes in, he's got like some sort of fancy beard, and he's like casually carrying some philosophy books. And it's like the douchebag's revolution and douchery in time, and it's like kind of cheesy. He's like, "Yeah, très intelligente, mademoiselle. You're scarcely a woman." I mean, I think it'd be like, "Oh, that's really interesting. That sounds like a line that would be used by a man who's, you know, scarcely a man." Swipe left, ladies. So now we're going to talk about the Saint-Simonians. They were socialist utopians. Spoiler alert, utopia is impossible, just a side note. The first weird thing about the Saint-Simonian socialist utopians is they all wore the same strange uniform. And they had this like white vest that you could only like get dressed if somebody helped you lace it up in the back. And this was supposed to represent man's great interdependence. And I don't really understand like the point. I think it's like, nothing can be achieved without the community. Symbolism, I don't know. Anyway. But I think we should get serious. I shouldn't make fun. Raise your hand if you care about mankind. Lower your hand if you got dressed yourself this morning. Tory scum. That's all I have to say about that. So the Saint-Simonians were kind of unique because they had this sort of strange understanding of the position of women in society. They thought that women brought to the table this unique, special nature of sensitive unicorn fairy dust shit. And they thought because of this, women deserved political rights. But that nature also needed to be protected, and therefore so the nature had to be protected. And though women deserved political rights, they couldn't actually feasibly have them until all war and slavery had been abolished from the earth. So it's like, oui, oui, petit chéri, we will get you your political rights ASAP. First, I'm going to abolish slavery, and then I'm going to take out the rubbish, and then I'm going to eliminate war. It's going to be easy, and then I'm going to pick up the baguette, and then after that, we will sort out your voter registration at that point. So finally, sorry, I moved too fast. That's coming up. So they also had this strange religion that was really just so weird. Hierarchies, cultish rituals, and this is the guy at the top. He made himself basically a messiah figure, the father. And at some point, all of the women that had positions of religious leadership, he just fired them from their positions of leadership. But like as like a little gesture, as like a shitty little like, he's like, okay, I'll postulate this theory of free love, and the women are sort of they don't even give a shit about free love. They're like, oh, okay, promiscuity, fine. But actually, we're kind of more interested in the workers' rights thing. The thing they were interested in that he announced was the great awaiting of the female messiah that was gonna like magically come and redeem womankind, uniquely of mankind, because I don't know, it had to be separate, and be his wife and be the mother and like the mother of the community. So he sent people off on these crazy expeditions to Asia and like the ass crack of Egypt, and like people are like searching for the Messiah and like trying to find the female Messiah. And it's just like some lengths that guys will go to get a date. Like he built a whole cult around it. It's pretty weird. It's like, ladies, yes, I'll give you your political rights soon, but just first, bring me a woman. It's like, sorry, like in my mind, he's like such a sniveling asshole. Like, I don't know. So in order to await the great coming of the female messiah, all the men go on this retreat to a chateau outside of Paris that had belonged to Enfantin's uncle, like bequeathed to him in his will or something. And you could just picture it. It's like all the men of the movement leave, and they're like, oh, shall we retire to Uncle's chateau and gather the chaps? And it's a jolly good idea, old boy. I'll bring the port. Pip, pip. And it's like, because nothing quite says socialist revolution like inherited wealth. Hashtag brocialism. So the men are all on this retreat, and they've excluded the women entirely in order to better gain insight into women's lot. So obviously, if you want to learn more about women, exclude them from your life. It's like, it works super well. Like, there are a lot of single guys that can explain that to you. Anyway, they're thinking about it, and this is like real quotes, y'all. I'm not even making this up. They're thinking about it, and they're like, so what do women do? So they do laundry, and they forego sex, and so yeah, let's just like try and do those things, and we'll be fine. And so, surprise, surprise, this ass-face shitty religion just dies out. But the women that they had abandoned in Paris, they just were like, they were abandoned, they were confused. But then eventually they were like, fuck it, we're just gonna start the early women's movement in France. And basically they did social activism, and they undertook practical work that actually endured and mattered for the women's movement and for the workers' movement in France. So you kind of, you're getting a picture here of like actual practical work versus weird shitty cult that died out. And so in intellectual history, we have a particular way of articulating this kind of phenomenon in the history of ideas. Bitches get shit done. Cheers, y'all.